in 45 minutes on BBC Two. That's after all metal breaks loose in Techno Games.
Get ready for a power surge. It's day 3 at Techno Games.
The biggest and the very best in the world of cybersports are revving up and getting ready for action. Getting ready for the biggest robot tournament ever. From the Technodrome at Shepperton Studios, we bring you Techno Games 2002.
Hello and welcome. We've got plenty of mechanical mayhem for you tonight. We'll be going live to the gold medal clash in the relay and finding out who ate all the robo-pies in the sumo. Let's check out tonight's full lineup. We've got 2 more heats for you in the swimming. Some rather unorthodox entries for the heavyweight sprint. More wannabe skeletons in the natural rope climb. Head-to-head action in the sumo. There's medals up in the air for the high jump. And up for grabs in the relay race final. And here to lift the bonnet on those robot designs are our resident experts, computer science professor at Sheffield University, Noel Sharkey, and Professor Martin Smith of the Technology Innovation Centre at the University of Central England. First up, another dip into the pool in by far the most hotly contested event at the Games, the swimming. And a new world record was set in the very first heat. Let's take a look.
And Gigasaurus makes a great start to the first event in this year's Techno Games. Roboduck going with Grady and a quack. Clear win. Now the important second qualifying place. Boyant working on one side and not on the other. And Boyant makes it in the corner to be the second qualifier.
Now over to Barry Davis for today's heats.
Well, we have 2 entries from the same school today, Philippa, in Heat 1. Flying Donkey comes from the Comberton Village College, Cambridge. Peter Law, design and technology teacher, and a couple of pupils. Lane 2 presents Hydra 2, the successor to Hydra 1, who made it to the semi-final last year. It's a family team from Waterlooville in Hampshire. Lane 3 is Robo Maron, the second entry from Comberton, a physics teacher and a couple of 14-year-olds. In lane 4 is Addison, who was mistaken for a baby when they tried it out on the local lake. This is a family team from Gravesend in Kent. And Tad 1 had a few problems with some swans on their local pond. They come from Harwich School in Essex.
Power up.
They go, Addison and Peter at the start, and it's Hydra 2 and Tad 1 in lanes 2, and the outside lane 5 are making the best move. This is Hydra 2, good splashing style. It's a bit smoother from Tad 1. We shall see how this develops. It looks as though it's between those 2. The others have stopped at the other end of the pool. Tad 1, it's a slightly wiggling motion, but Hydra 2 has definitely lost its legs. Just can't get them going together. Bit of adjustment required, but it's looking like Tad 1 to me. Very unusual rolling motion, but it's rolling down to the finish. Hydra 2 looks as though it's stopped. Tad 1 wins just as Hydra 2 gets going again. Hydra 2 comes in second place. No joy for Comberton. Addison a bit out of her depth, really. This is the moment the race was won and lost, when Hydra just came to a halt, allowing Tad 1 to float past to take the victory. Confirmed at 47.19, 3 didn't finish. Hydra might be the better bet come the quarterfinals. Now today's second heat, which sees in lane 1 and a bit of 2, Mammoth, presented by the Barrel Brothers. They come from Rayleigh in Essex. Inside them and being pushed slightly across will be Hypocrite from Westgate Community College, Newcastle. The teacher there, Joe Hindmarsh, and a couple of teenage pupils. In the middle lane, Pete the Penguin from the Young Engineers Club of Community College, Bishop Castle in Shropshire. Mike James in charge. In lane 4 is Calypso, who won in 2000 and took the silver medal last year. William Hudson and James Jagg of Harrow School. And on the outside lane, as we look, North Coast Integrated College, Coler in Northern Ireland, present Waterbabe.
Power up.
So will Mammoth drive all the others across the course? We shall see. It's Hypocrite doing rather well, in fact going away from the rest of the field. This looks very impressive, a winking eye and dashing paddles. Hypocrite is out on its own for Westgate Community College. Pete the Penguin, a bit stronger on stroke side than on bow side, and it's in danger of being caught by Water Babe. But Hypocrite is coming in alone and looking a very stylish beast indeed. Second place is between Calypso and Pete the Penguin. Calypso had a steering problem, clearly has come over to the far side and is beaten by Pete the Penguin. What a disappointment for the Harrow schoolboys, but Pete the Penguin finally got stroke and bow side going together and qualified by a beak.
And with the Calypso team, lads, where did it all go wrong?
Oh, it's a bit of a dead horse, really. We've moved on to new and better things.
Had its day, you know.
So this day, will it be going on the
Shut up.
scrap heap? You know you're going to try and modify it for the next
No,
series?
I'm going to sink it.
Well, a real turn-up in spite of what they're saying. Hypocrite the winner, 28.25. Pete the Penguin second. Calypso out of it.
So one of your favourites takes it. The winner is Tad 1 for Tadpole.
Yes, it was very good, wasn't it?
Why do you like it so
It was
much?
excellent. Well, because it had a very novel method of propulsion. If you look at the, watch it carefully in the water there, you'll see that its little tail, which was quite long, actually wiggled like this. So, and it wasn't moving water around, it was kind of climbing through the water the way a tadpole would. So rather than pushing water for propulsion, it was kind of squirreling its way along.
Just
Though it
slightly
did displace
unusual.
some water. Very unusual. We haven't seen another one like that.
Hydra, of course, was going just great guns down there, and suddenly something jammed.
I don't know what happened. It must have been just a motor jammed or something.
And Hypocrite was the winner.
Yes.
Did you think it would win, Martin?
Well, I wasn't sure, but I'm afraid that was not my first choice, but there we
But
go.
look,
There
it
was,
did.
there was
It
no
did.
stopping it.
Pete the Penguin was a bit of a surprise. We
Pete
thought it
the
wasn't going to
Penguin.
win, didn't we?
Pete the Penguin, and
It
it
won
was
by a beak.
so
It won by a
close.
beak.
It was fantastic.
Well, what they've done is they've got little lids on the flappers, so that and they've got elastic bands around those. So what happens is when they pull back, the little lids should open. But what's happening there is the lids were stuck.
Thank you very much, guys. And we've got more action from the swimming tomorrow, including the semi-finals of the brand new submersible event. Now, the Technodrome is about to become the Thunderdome as the big beasts of the heavy sprint heave into view. We're about to go live to the racetrack, but first, let's have a look at what happened in Monday's races.
And away goes Scuttleby Spread. Critter going very slowly. It's decimating the world record. Look at this, 15.19. Black Widow made the quickest start. Oh, it's lost an eye, it's lost both. Does it know where it's going? Ulysses wins 42.47.
So a new world record to beat, and now we can go live to the track. Andy Collins is there for heat number 3. Andy, are the sprinters ready to roll?
I think the sprinters are ready. You're ready, aren't you, guys? Yeah, they're ready. The time to beat is under 2 minutes if you want to qualify. Can your machine do it?
No.
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 That's confidence.
Yes, we'll have a go. We'll try.
We'll give it a damn good try.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about you guys? I want to know, because Philippa was asking me earlier, while we were looking around in the pits, have you got a name for the rabbit?
Cobbler now.
So it's between the Kinghurst Flyer and the rabbit called Cobbler, and if the rabbit doesn't win, it ends up in the stew, as far as I know.
Don't worry, Andy, we'll give you the boot. Now, over to Barry Davis to talk us through the action.
Enough of the one-liners for a moment, I think. Let's just check on the leaderboard. Scuttleby Squared, 15.19, a world record. Here's Simon Scott looking at the contestants.
Clodhopper is another beam-legged walker, only this one uses a large flywheel for the inertia necessary to run the homemade crankshaft walking mechanism. Steering obtained from a central foot, separate to the rest of the system. When you see this robot walk, you'll see it's aptly named. This is the Kingshurst Flyer, and it's a whopping 150-kilo, 8-legged beam walker. Got a 5-horsepower petrol engine on board, driving 2 hydraulic pumps. Servo control to each, giving backwards, forwards, and proportional throttle. Legs, rather like the beam on a steam engine, only larger than the can-like wheels they ride on. Let's see if it's full steam ahead.
How
It's Kingshurst Flyer from Kingshurst City Technology College, Solihull on the right, and nearer the camera, Clodhopper from Bideford in Devon. Clodhopper has made the better start, but slightly losing direction now and giving an opportunity for Kingshurst Flyer. The teacher here, Chris Sherwood, entered Tecumseh to success in 2000 and the silver last year, but then he was with another school. Clodhopper correcting its position quite nicely, managing to hang on to its lead. Coral Rabbit's being shaken around a little bit, but they're past the 10-metre mark. The world record never in any danger. That was clear almost from the very start. Lacey's look as though they might be coming undone, but Clodhopper making its way down. Kingshurst Flyer, it's a nice motion, but not to put too fine a point on it, it's not quick enough. Cobbler, oh my ears and whiskers. I think it might well be feeling a little bit queasy come the finish, but the finish is not far away now for Clodhopper. Going off to the left again. Don't think Kingshurst Flyer can take advantage. Clodhopper might qualify for the next round. Finishes in 1:28, the toe cap over the line. Kingshurst Flyer, poetry in mechanical motion, but just not quick enough. Clodhopper, in fact, the third best qualifying to date, better than Black Widow, but somehow it's going to have to kick Scuttleby Squared out of the way if it's to progress any further.
I actually saw a woman in the audience there crying with laughter.
It was very funny.
Just
I was
wiping
practically
away
crying
the
with
tears.
laughter.
This is just, I love this event. It's absolutely marvellous. To think that that actually won as well.
It should have been the novelty comedy item, shouldn't it?
Clodhopper was one of the best robots I've ever seen, I think. And of course, Paul Cobbler sitting there at the top, Cobbler the rabbit.
He looked as if he'd been shaken to death, didn't he? But his shades didn't come off, which is
Well, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Both robots were fascinating, but what I thought was interesting is we've talked before about forward motion, putting all your energy into staying level and going forward, but that didn't seem to work well for Kingshurst Flyer.
They were very, very small movements, very short movements. So it's got four tiny legs. Well, they're big legs, but they're only moving a tiny amount on each side.
Well, Clodhopper was the winner there.
Yes. But did you see how, when it got stuck there, when it kept running off to the side, it would turn around very elegantly? That's because it's got a turntable underneath it. So it lifts its legs and then just spins the turntable like a record player, and round it goes.
Thanks, guys. There's the 4th heavyweight sprint heat on Friday, and we'll have more live racing action at the end of today's show in the relay final. But right now, let's take a look at who's on top and who's swinging in the wind in the natural rope climb. On Monday, we saw reigning champion Skeletron set the pace with a time of 30.47 seconds. Let's have a look.
And away goes Skeletron. Quite a difference in physique between these two, if you can talk about robots in such a manner. Classic style of climbing from Skeletron. Streaker, a lot smaller. 30.47.
And now over to Barry Davis for the action from today's climb-offs.
First two contestants, Twine Traveller from Bill Erminy and Emily Williams from Worcester Park in Surrey, against Sister of Murphy, a family and work colleagues entrant from Bolton in Lancashire.
I'm with the Sister of Murphy, and it's a beautiful natural rope climber, expertly CNC machined from HE30 aluminium. It runs a pre-sequenced microprocessor program based here in the brain, with limit to the limbs provided by these microswitches. Motion power are these two 15-volt motors running through gearboxes to two 4-star threaded lead screws at quite a high ratio of 7-to-1 leverage to the limbs. To grip the rope, we've got these toothed snail cams in the feet and in the hands that require no additional power to them during the ascent. But to get down, we've got this servo release mechanism in the feet and in the hands to release the fierce grip it's got on the rope. That will allow the robot to descend. So if you'd like more information on how this cunning, beautiful rope climber was constructed, then visit the BBC Robot World website at www.bbc.co.uk/robots.
So Sister of Murphy, nearer the camera. Twine Traveller on the far side, and away we go. Twine Traveller going at a rate of knots. This is very good stuff from the team from Worcester Park in Surrey. They're winning by a distance, and they could be a problem to Skeletron if they go as quickly as that. Sister of Murphy, rather more sedately, as one would imagine the sister should be, but here goes Twine Traveller, twining its way. Oh, but suddenly coming to a halt. Oh no, to get so close. And Sister of Murphy, slowly but surely, might just win. Great efforts to get Twine Traveller moving again, but it seems to be stuck, and Sister of Murphy seems to be losing grip. I think neither is going to make it to the top. Well, it's a very sad state of affairs, really. Looking for better fortune now are Green Wiggly from Abram Derby School in Madeley in Shropshire. And the family team from Norfolk, RC1, father and son here.
My name's Dave Senior, this is my son James, and this is our robot RC1. Simple mechanical design, electric motor driven, geared down to a crankshaft that works the legs, moves the legs up and down, and ratchets in the feet and the hands to stop it slipping down the road.
We're the team of Green Wiggly. We're from Shropshire. This is Rachel, Michelle, I'm Brian. This is our robot, driven by pneumatics, climbs a rope by hand over hand. It's driven by CO2 and battery power, and we're hoping to come away with the medals.
3,
Power up.
2.
And just look at RC1 go, he's eating up the rope. The world record in severe danger. Green Wiggly still at the start as the world record is smashed, 9.15. Green Wiggly not one hand over hand, but what a classic style from RC1. And the time, a new world record. Skeletron, look out.
RC1! Dave, that's very quick indeed, wasn't it?
Well, we hope so, but what was the time, do we know?
Well, the world record is 27.4, which was a very tough time to beat, we all thought, and you just come along and smashed it. Your time is 9.15. You are the new world record holders.
Well done.
Your feelings on just hearing that news?
I'm amazed. Absolutely fantastic.
So just one winner today in the natural rope climb. RC1, 9.15, a world record. There'll be 4 qualifiers for the semi-final, 3 more still to compete. RC1 leading the way, and how?
Okay, so we're very excited. We've got a new world record, but before we talk about that, I want to talk about the opposition, because although Green Wiggly didn't get really a chance to get up and show us what it could do, you were quite excited about the technology involved.
I was very disappointed by Green Wiggly. I'm sorry it didn't work, because it actually worked in a very similar method to the Green Lizard. And it was the only hand-over-hand robot we've had in the rope climbing.
Right.
And what that meant was that, I can't really show you without lifting my foot up. What happened was that the foot and the one side, the foot and the hand gripped, and they moved, and then the other foot and hand gripped and moved.
So it's
it
a
climbs up
terrible
like
shame
this.
we didn't get
It was
to
a
see
terrible
that.
shame.
The other technology that you loved was Sister of Murphy, wasn't it, Martin?
I was very impressed by Sisters of Murphy. Sister of Murphy, beautifully made. He's designed it using a computer and made it using computer-aided manufacturing. So that's a very, very high-tech way of making things, and he's made a thing of beauty at the same time. So he hasn't just designed it to be technically beautiful, he's designed it to be artistically beautiful as well, and like an animal-like machine.
Shame it just didn't get to the top.
Both people, though, in it, they make bread makers, pieces for industrial bread makers. So their machining skills are excellent. I mean, you look inside that, you think, this is just incredible.
However,
it is rather
as I
heavy.
said,
It's
they
very
didn't get to the top, but RC1, well,
yes.
What have you got to say about that?
It's very light, so it's got a very good chance. It's got a powerful, fast motor, so all these things.
I mean, 9.15 smashed through.
It's going to be very difficult to beat that with that kind of climber, I would say. Very difficult.
Thank you, guys. And there'll be more robots climbing over each other to win the gold on Friday. But next on Techno Games, an event which already has a huge following among robot builders around the world, the Micro Mouse. Today, the wall followers entered the maze. Andy took a look at the fascinating challenge facing the robo-rodents.
Time now for some artificial intelligence. No, not me, it's our micro mouse event. Now today's the turn of our wall followers. Now these particular mice follow the left-hand side of our maze, working their way into the middle. Now the tricky bit, of course, is to negotiate all the dead ends and be faster than all the other mice taking part. So that's what they've got to do. Let the mice come out and play, and whatever you do, keep the cat away from the telly.
Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm James.
And we're Team Artful Bodgers, and this is our mouse, Fay Mouse.
A couple of Artful Bodgers from High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire. Two friends who put this Fay Mouse together, and it didn't do too badly. Hugging the left-hand wall, missed most of the cul-de-sacs, didn't take the wrong turning there, got into the square in a good time.
Hello, I'm Shannon. This is my dad and my sister, Chloe, and this is my mouse, Mr. Cheese.
And Mr. Cheese made a pretty good start, but then rather lost his way. Dad Shannon entered Motor Mouse last year and didn't make it to the finish. Comparison of the time with Fay Mouse, very much in favour of the first to go. And the contrast in styles was interesting. Mr. Cheese banging against the walls, whereas Fay Mouse just smoothly went alongside one.
Hi, I'm Gareth, and this is my teammate Anna, and we are Team Anger.
And this is our micro mouse, Mimi, which stands for Mighty Intelligent Maze Investigator.
We are very confident they will get to the centre and we could win.
12-year-old Anna Cole and 11-year-old Gareth Mathias from High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire, just hanging on the left wall and finding the way through. Initially a slower starter, but then picked up pace and clearly was a challenger to Fay Mouse. Nothing in it as they came towards the finish. The final turn, hugging the left wall, but in the end, Fay Mouse just hanging on to its advantage. But a very, very good try by Mimi.
Hi, I'm Laura, and this is Harry, and this is our mouse, Tash.
Our mouse runs on 2 solar motors powered by a 9-volt battery.
Training's gone very well, and we think we've got every chance of winning.
Mouse Tash, the third entrant from the same club in High Wycombe, and looking the smoothest of the three. Looking very realistic and moving well. And clearly very much faster than the two before it. Fay Mouse's time in clear trouble, so was the world record, but in the end they were just outside it. Comparison of the two performances shows just how far Fay Mouse was behind, and the close-up, how smooth was the performance of Mouse Tash.
Hi, I'm Ryan. This is my robot, GoldenEye. It has 2 motors, 2 switches and 2 lights. I think I stand a good chance of winning.
11-year-old Ryan Chidley, very confident. This is the second entrant from Colchester in Essex. Very attractive looking mouse with the flashing lights and the golden arm, doing an excellent job of direction. Off swiftly and maintained the pace all the way through. Clearly was going to be a threat to Mouse Tash. Comparison showing how close it was. But GoldenEye a little bit quicker out of the bend and into the home straight, and the final turn just outside the world record, but the winner by 0.68 of a second. The overhead view shows just how close it was, but it's the gold for GoldenEye, 38.22, silver to Mouse Tash, 38.9, bronze to Fay Mouse, 47.72. The world record remains intact.
So they're great to watch, great racers, but why are they so special, do you think, Martin, those mice?
Well, I think because they're a little bit more clever. They're following, they're not just going in a straight line, straight speed. They've got to do turns as well as be fast, and that makes it more difficult.
They're interesting because they're what we call an autonomous robot, or they're going towards that. And that's not a high-minded concept. It usually means self-governing, but when we talk about robots, we just simply mean they go it alone, without a human controller. As in Robot Wars, you have a human controller, so here you don't. So these are going it alone, and some of these are not really autonomous because all they can do really is follow a maze. But it's quite interesting the way they do it. They're using sensors rather than having a steering control from a remote control device.
Thanks, guys. And there'll be a chance for the Micromouse maze solvers to strut their stuff on Friday. Next up, an event Techno Games has imported from the East, minus the honour and tradition, but with a lot more spilt brake fluid. Let's take a look at who's been butting heads so far in the sumo.
Could well be a question of hit and run from Mighty Mouse. Stopped dead in its tracks by Mighty Mouse, which was impressive. Oh, no! Mind is poised. The weight advantage with Hellbound. Now the weight beginning to tell. Ridgeback is on the swing and goes, followed by Hellbound. Ridgeback fell off the dojo first.
Now over to Barry Davies to see who won today's Battle of Wills.
First contest at even weight and power, pitting British Bulldog, a father-son and son's friend team from Cannock in Staffordshire, against an entrant by work colleagues from Huntingdon in Cambridgeshire, Storm Chaser, both at 98 kilograms and 2 by 750 watt motors.
Teams stand by to compete.
British Bulldog on the far side, Storm Chaser on the near. Referee's whistle, in goes British Bulldog, makes the challenge, but is turned aside. It's all over in under 5 seconds. And a victory 12 by Storm Chaser. British Bulldog made the first move, but then really lacked control, and just a little bit of pip really was enough to remove it from the arena and to bring victory to Storm Chaser so quickly. On to the second contest, with the entry of Sprocket by an internet motorcycling group. 88 kilograms in weight. They come from Maidstone in Kent. And at 96 kilograms, therefore, the heavier is Big Bro, who's entered in a lot of events. Comes from Brighton in Sussex, the Watts family.
Teams stand by to compete.
Sprocket on the left, Big Bro on the right. And they meet at the centre. Oh, but Big Bro got underneath its opponent. And delight for the Watts family. Comprehensive victory. Really got underneath and took poor Sprocket straight off the dojo to land in the tyres.
So, Joe, talk us through that. Talk us through that battle.
We started off very fast. We got him onto the scoop and pushed him around quickly enough for him not to get back.
Not to get back, and off he fell.
Yep.
And you're through to the semi-final.
Yes!
I think they're happy.
Two very quick winners, Storm Chaser and Big Bro, and they avoid each other in the semi-finals, which are Big Bro against Hellbound, Storm Chaser against Chip.
So, by all accounts then, Big Bro won against Sprocket because they turned him around, got him under the scoop, and then he couldn't come back.
Sprocket is a much more powerful machine, greater traction, more torque, more weight. Everything about it really is stronger. Yes.
Big advantage over two-wheel drive for this kind of contest.
But doesn't have it has much higher ground clearance. 3.94 seconds it lasted, so it was just a clash bang.
It was not very long at all, was it? And neither was the next bout, 4.5 seconds. Storm Chaser on British Bulldog. I'm surprised we're not seeing more from British Bulldog here. Because we didn't really see much at all. They just drove off the side. But
yes, they did.
They seem to me to be a strong team.
They are.
Well, it's outclassed anyway, because Storm Chaser being four-wheel drive has a big advantage.
Thanks, guys. There'll be more heavy-duty sumo action in Friday's final. And if you feel inspired by that action, remember you can check out the tech specs of top-featured Techno Games robots at the Robot World website. But now, let's take a look at our second final of the day in the high jump. 34 robots started the qualifying heats, competing to overshoot last year's joint record holders Viper and Tina the Two-Toed Toad. Let's see last year's winners in action.
Power.
Get it right this time. They have got it right, and it's hit the roof. 8 meters for the Two-Toed Toad called Tina. All good distance. Certainly a good height achieved.
This year, the event has been altered to provide a more demanding contest. Andy took a look at the challenge.
Right, let's get one thing straight. In the past, we've had robots breaking records left, right and centre in this event. Well, things are going to change, because you see this foot? I'm putting it down. From now on, every single robot taking part in our high jump must weigh at least 1 kilogram. And if that wasn't harsh enough, only the top 5 jumpers will go through to the second round. You see, I can be good looking and strict.
So these were the top 5 to go through. Rana returning from last year, Newland House School, Twickenham in Middlesex.
Roboteers.
First of 2 jumps. And just clearing the 4-metre mark. Obviously, it's going to be a new world record under these new conditions. 4.1 then, the early benchmark. Crockpot 2 were another team returning from last year. Father and son taking part. Very different style of robots. And about 3.5 it seemed for their first. And the slow motion replay producing a figure of slightly less than was first thought, 3.2. Cyberflea, team from West Yorkshire, father and 2 sons this time. Down goes the foot, and up went the robot. And this, the best, 5.3. Springy Thingy was the best of 4 entries in the high jump competition of the Highfield School in Derbyshire. But the first jump only a little over 3 metres. The official figure, 3.1. Next, Knee Deep, James Eagling and Peter Eagling. They've been around in the 2 previous Techno Games. Father and son. Press in the plunger, turn the key. And up it goes and out of sight. That was much the best from the first round of jumps. Officially measured at 7.9. So obviously a new world record and the target to be aimed at by the others in round 2. 5.3 from Cyberflea, Rana at 4.1. Best jump to count, and this was the second effort by Rana, but not as good as the first. Only 3.4. Now the second attempt by Crockpot 2, but it was met by a rather stony silence and a totally inanimate robot. The button was pressed, but movement was absolutely none. Second attempt by the Spillanes from West Yorkshire, and Cyberflea, and up it flew. Suddenly, albeit briefly, there was a threat to the 7.9 of Knee Deep. But the official figure only just over 5, 5.2. So Springy Thingy would be the last of the challengers, an improvement on round 1, but only 3.8 metres. And that left Knee Deep with the stage to themselves.
Okay, guys, you've got the gold, the pressure's off. Can you beat your personal record of 7.9?
No.
No, you can't beat it.
Absolutely not.
Not a chance.
She broke
Not
a
a
leg on
chance.
the last jump.
She did what, sorry?
Broke a leg. She's actually got a splint on one leg.
Really?
Yeah, so we're taking it easy, and we've got another developing problem there, we think, as well, with the elastic.
Oh, so
we're going to go for it. We may just explode.
Roboteers, stand by.
So how will it all end? No chance of beating 7.9, say the Eaglings. Well, it wasn't a bad attempt, but they lost another bit of the robot in their second jump. But clear winners with 7.9 from the first. Their second, 5.8. Well, for the last 2 years, they've won the gold medal in the long jump, and now Lanesborough School with Knee Deep, and James and Peter Eagling take the gold in the high jump with a 7.9 metre world record.
James, we're about to give you the gold medals. I'll grab them now. How do you feel, my friend?
Excellent.
Excellent. You're very pleased with your robot, even though it's broken its leg, I believe, yeah?
Yes, and its flipper.
And its flipper.
Yeah, it came off on landing.
It's falling apart, your robot, isn't it?
Yeah, it also exploded on Saturday.
Oh, dear me. Well, it's come here, it's done the job, it's got you the gold medal, so there you are, my friend. You have them. And ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Knee Deep. Marvellous. Well done, guys. Well done, all teams. Well done.
So Knee Deep, how did they do it technically?
With elastic, which is great. I mean, all of these were alternative energy, really. And what you do is you release a lot of energy by having lots of elastic. Now, they had an entrance last year, and the problem was that they wanted to increase the power during the jumps, so that they get better and better. So they had to add more elastic bands, and that was a very awkward thing to do.
Yeah.
So what they've done is, little James has come up with this idea of an elastic fuel cell, which is 40 strands of elastic. And what they do is they pull these apart, they use 4 of these, and essentially let them go and fly into the air. But what he's done is he's used 4 of these, but he can use up to 8 of them. But the problem is that if you use 8 of them, it'll probably fall apart. The whole thing will rip apart.
You've got that much power at your disposal. The thing is, you then risk ruining the rest of the robot,
Exactly.
which is how he got his injury.
Exactly. Yes, obviously you want as light as you can possibly get, but then you also want to store as much energy as you possibly can. So there's a risk that you're going to break your own robot with the strength of this energy stored in the rubber bands. Basically, the people who jumped the highest were the people who stored the most energy.
Okay, well, Knee Deep practically went off the scale. As we said, it broke its leg when it landed. So fingers crossed for next week. We'll see it again in the long jump. Thank you very much, guys. Now, in a moment, we're going live to the last event of the day at the Technodrome, the final time trial of the relay. But first, let's take a look at what happened earlier.
Well, this afternoon we saw a promising-looking attempt by a team called the Three Bears, entered by Hockerill Anglo-European College in Bishop Stortford in Hertfordshire. A little bit of trouble with the steering, but the baton changes worked well, and they had a good final lap and a finishing time of 1:19.93. But that was somewhat down on what we saw yesterday from the defending champions, Team Cam, who showed how to control the cars and indeed how to pass the baton. But they did have 2 problems. One was the second change, when they overshot and needed 2 attempts to actually cross the baton from one car to the next. And then when endeavouring to make up for the time lost, they almost lost it on the final bend. But in spite of that, they comprehensively beat their old world record with a new time of 38.97. Showing just how to control the cars and how to pass the baton. They've been in a different league from the rest.
Great stuff there, and we can now go down to Andy live at the trackside. So, Andy, are the tech teams feeling the pressure? They should be.
Yes, they are feeling the pressure, Philippa, because there's only one team left now, and it's the Sprindell Sprinters. Not a very good thing to say when you've got a lisp like I have. Anyway, they're ready to go. Now, last games, they got the silver medal. They would have got gold, but they dropped the baton, and they got a 10-second penalty. Have they learned their lesson this time? That's what I want to know.
They've got a lot of support down there, though. I can see the banners.
They've got an awful lot of support as well. Give us a wave, please, fans. A scary bunch of people if ever I saw them.
I don't know if they're helpful or not. Thank you very much, Andy. Let's watch the action unfold with Barry Davis.
So the last attempt to beat Team Cam comes from the Springdale Junior School in Wolverhampton in the West Midlands. Carolyn Bryan, Ben Dalton, Harrison Bayliss.
Power up.
38.97 to beat, and away they go well on the first lap. It's pretty good pace and pretty good control too. Slowing down a little bit on the bend, and now in for the first change. Oh dear, and it's too strong. And over the top. Oh, I don't believe that. They've lost 20 seconds after an opening lap which suggested they might really be competitors to Team Cam. It's for second place now. Such a shame. One more handover. Coming wide and passing this time with ease. What might have been for Springdale Junior School. It's a good finish. A little bit wobbly around the bend, with a finishing time of 52.46. And for that has to be added 20 seconds of penalty points for what happened here. The baton going over the top, and then as the second lap started, the baton having been replaced. Insult added to injury. And so for the second year, the Springdale Sprinters take the silver medal, ahead now of the Three Bears, but Team Cam out on their own, winners and a new world record.
Your Techno Game gold medals, wear them with pride, because I know you will. And once again, fans, make some noise for Team Cam! Well done, guys. Well done.
It's interesting, the relay, isn't it? Because I remember doing it as a human is scary enough, because you're so frightened of that one bit where you hand over. And of course, that's the bit which is letting them down most of the time. And meant that our Springdale Sprinters still only made it to second place, which they did last year too.
Last year I liked Springdale Sprinters a lot because they invented what I would call the waterfall passing. So you have a trickle effect with gravity.
Yeah.
So you pass the baton downwards. Well, the Three Bears copied it almost exactly.
Which is always the same in design.
So it was quite good that they didn't win in a sense.
So you're pleased they didn't win.
Yes,
Can any design be? I mean, we've seen the gold medal winners last year were Camel. We've seen them in action again this year. An incredible time. They got 38.97. Do you think there's any beating that kind of design?
I think they went faster.
You can see an easy improvement.
Can you? Go on.
Yeah. Well, if you drop the baton, if you have a grab that will go down as low as picking off the ground, then you could recover it without losing your time penalty.
Right. Thank you very much. And remember, you can cast your online vote for your favourite robot in our People's Vote. Here are the robots you can pick from today's competition.
Mighty Mouse, our first robot from the USA and possibly the most sophisticated robot in the games. Sisters of Murphy, modelled on the constructor's daughter. Could it be the most animal-like robot of the games?
On tomorrow's show, circuits will be sizzling with action from the football, the swimming, the sprint and the assault course. Plus, we'll be finding the fastest machine on two wheels in the cycling final. But that's the end of the day's events, where we've seen 2 golds collected and 2 new world records set by reigning tech teams in the high jump and the relay. The message seems to be, don't quit while you're ahead. See you tomorrow, and please don't be alarmed by thoughts of a future where robots rule the earth. That's the stuff of fiction, although the teams here are working to make it a reality. Good night.
If you'd like details of how to take part in Techno Games 2003, call 08700 100 678 for an application pack. Or if you have a text phone, dial 08000 15 33 50.